everyone, and welcome back to Spirituality with Gabriella. Today we're doing a reading on who will you marry. So if you are wondering who your future spouse is going to be, any characteristics that they have, and how your married life will be together, then this will be the perfect reading for you. And as always, if you guys like my content, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button today. So what I'll be asking you guys to do today is to pick from one of these three decks. And here we have pile 1 with the Amethyst, pile 2 with the Pyrite, and pile 3 with the Rose Quartz. So turn your thoughts and your intuition inwards and just take a moment to pick the pile that speaks most to you. And then once you're ready, you can fast forward by using the timestamps in the description below to get your own personal reading. And I will see you guys there. Thank you so much. Okay, group 1, welcome to your reading. So as a reminder, this reading is about who you're gonna marry. The cards that we're using today are called the Soul Cards deck, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And I've picked these 4 main cards for you guys. And then I also have these 4 clarifying cards. What I want to tell you guys, group 1, is that the energy around your pairing and your marriage is very, very positive. The first card that we pulled for you guys is the King of Wands. And instantly the vibes that I'm getting is that the person that you're going to marry is a very magical person in many ways. So I think that they have a lot of ideas and they can see possibilities and opportunities. So I'm instantly thinking of entrepreneurship, business owners, people who are very creative, people who are also very strategic, because the King of Wands brings with it this energy around ideation, but also seriousness. So I think this person is very good at spotting opportunities that other people might actually miss out on. And so what I'm seeing in your partner is someone who is highly strategic, highly innovative, someone who you're going to be drawn to because they make things possible that for other people, it just wouldn't be a reality. And so I think that's why I express this in terms of magic. I think this person literally makes magic happen. It's like they have a business idea. Okay, no problem. It's gonna get made, it's gonna get built, and they're gonna actually make that manifest and come into reality. So if you have not yet met this person, when you are interacting with future partners, this is one of the signals that you're going to want to look for sure. That person should have a fire in their belly around the things that they want to achieve, to build, and to create. And I definitely see this more in terms of business and strategy. I think this person has a destiny to really create a legacy and create something big. So you're going to want to look out for a dreamer and someone who's a very high achiever. The second card that we pulled for you guys is the 9 of Pentacles. Instantly what I'm getting is the 9 of Pentacles is a very stable energy financially. So this person is going to have a lot of funds. They are going to create something big and they're going to be able to take very good care of you. So I hope that this makes you feel safe and secure. The 9 of Pentacles is an energy of abundance. So with all cards in the tarot deck, the Fool actually is at the start of the deck and goes on a journey. And the 9 of Pentacles, if we're looking at the Suite of Pentacles, is towards the end of this journey. And what that means is that the Fool at that point has kind of gone through all of these different things in order to get to the 9 of Pentacles. So they've had to work really, really hard to get to the place that they are at by the time they get there. And so what I see in your future spouse is someone who's a very hard worker. I think that they're willing to put in the long hours. They're willing to shed the blood, sweat, and tears that is going to come with this project or this idea that they're really focused on. That could be something that's connected to a company or connected to another group of people. I think for some of them, it's actually an individual focus. It's something that they do by themselves. But regardless, they're going to be very, very successful at it. The 9 of Pentacles is an energy that brings not only security, but also abundance. It brings luxury, and it does also bring an energy of lavishness and elegance. So I would expect that just your lifestyle and the opportunities that you have, what is at your fingertips, is going to be opening up a lot of doors for you and opening up a lot of opportunities and connections that maybe you might not have had before meeting this person. So I would be feeling very excited if I were you. We also have Strength. And I love this card because strength is about long-term perseverance, and it's also about belief. It's belief in yourself, and it is belief in your own inner power and your innate ability to keep going even when the going gets tough. And so with strength, you know, in the classic traditional tarot deck, there's a woman and she's holding open the jaws of a lion. We never really know, is it because the lion's gonna bite down on her and she has to use force, or is this just something where it's like a gentle pulling? We don't really know that, but what it shows in this card is that there's a lot of strength there. So this is not only about your partner, it's about your relationship together. So you guys are going to lift each other up, you're going to exchange a lot of ideas together, but primarily the real test of this relationship and the thing that ends up working out so beautifully is the strength that you both give each other. What I see is that I think you give your partner a lot of strength. I think you give them a lot of comfort, compassion that they might not get otherwise. And I think that they return that through inspiring you and pushing you to be your best self. You're both lifting each other up and you're both going to new heights together as a pair. This relationship has a very strong foundation. Sometimes I read the cards and I feel like, oh yeah, you know, it's a fun relationship, but it's going to kind of peter out. But with your guys' relationship, I really feel like there's a very strong foundation and there's a very strong underlying core. And because that core is in place, you are able to, as a pair, kind of rise up to new heights and build the wealth and the inspiration and the innovation and even a community of creativity on top of all of that. And then lastly, here we have the Empress. So the Empress tells me something interesting, and the Empress is more about a feminine energy, and it's an energy of abundance, fertility, creativity, all of the good things in life, and it's definitely a womanly energy. And so what that tells me is that there is a sense of compassion that's actually wrapped around this whole relationship. I'll get into this a little bit later with this card here as well. See this push and pull, but in a way where it's not real conflict, you know, it's like fun energy where one person is pushing against the other person is pushing back. Through this push and pull, you guys are actually creating really beautiful things together. That actually also includes a family and also includes children and really all of the things that you might want in life. I think that that's definitely at your fingertips whenever you want it. Like spirit side will send that to you when you guys are ready for it. And if you already have children, that's great as well. I see that your role in this relationship is really to keep feeding the comfort and the stability. And I'm talking about emotional stability as much as I'm talking about financial stability. So this person is going to provide you with a lot of strength to get through times that might seem kind of difficult or hard. But overall, I really don't see many difficulties between you two or even in your lives together. I feel like you guys have a very clear and direct road ahead, which allows you to just go on your path, enjoy your path, and just spend these beautiful moments together. What I would encourage you to do is really shed your skins. If anything that you want to leave behind, let it go now, because once you meet this person, the path that you have together is one of continual growth. Like you guys both grow and develop each other. And I know that in some readings, like that might sound obvious, but I think this takes on a different energy because this to me feels like big or large scale. I feel like together you guys are making a strong impact, not only on your own life, but actually on a community or the world. Like I really think your partner is drawn to build something or create something that actually has an impact on more than like 10 people. It's going to be like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people. And so I do see there is a lot of strength that is needed, but there is also a comfort that is needed because that's going to come with its own challenges. But they're more emotional challenges, you know, they're more like challenges of feeling tired or feeling burdened at times. There's nothing negative I see about conflict or about you guys working together. I think that at the core of it, you're both very, very supportive of each other, and you both know that you are the one person who is always going to stand by each other's side. And so I think in your partner, you're going to find a best friend, and you're going to find that person who is really willing to be by your side until the last and final breaths, so to speak, which is really beautiful. So I hope that you guys feel very happy about that. Let's get into the clarifying cards now and see if we can get any additional information. So here we have the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords again plays very nicely on this Empress card that we got here. And the Empress is more about fertility and comfort, whereas the Queen of Swords is more about holding yourself to a very high standard and being logical, at times even being cutting edge. And so I actually think this is a really nice pairing with the King of Wands, because I think sometimes your partner has the tendency to be a little bit too out there and a little bit too creative, and you kind of need to rein them in a little bit. Now I'm reading this as you and the other one as them. Of course, the roles might be reversed, so just keep that in mind, because with the cards, sometimes it's not 100% clear who's who. But what I would say is I feel that your partner at times might get carried away because their ideas are so big and they're just so committed to their ideas and what they want to do. And I think your role is to kind of help them continue with those ideas, but also help them understand, okay, let's focus on what's practical, let's focus on what's realistic, what can you do now, what do you actually have control over now. Help them get there when they have these moments of stress or when they feel like they're not getting there fast enough, because they have really big goals. So sometimes you might have to kind of rein them back in and just support them and show them that you are by their side. We also have the Star. The Star is one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck, so it's a very hopeful card. It's honestly a card of dreams. It's a card of comfort and intuition and all beautiful things in life. And it really is a wish fulfillment card. So if you have a spouse in mind, like the perfect spouse and their characteristics and even maybe what they look like, then the Star is kind of assuring you that that is going to happen and more. So I hope that that gives you some comfort and some promise that your future is going to be very, very bright, literally and figuratively. The Star in this context is connecting to the Nine of Pentacles. And so what I see here is I actually see that this stable foundation that you two have together is bringing a lot of opportunities. I think it actually allows you to open up your mind in a new level and a new way, where you're able to do your life's work. There might be something that you are focused on, but you kind of do it on the side. And it might be something that you don't necessarily focus on 100% of your day. So for example, you might work a full-time job, but have this other passion on the side. And I think that through this partnership, you actually get the stability that allows you to pursue your external passion and make it your primary passion. I do feel really hopeful and really excited for you guys, because I see that through this relationship, there's just so much growth and there's so much nourishing. That's how I describe it. It's a very nourishing energy where you guys are supporting each other and you're also becoming your best self. You're able to have this wonderful foundation in place that allows you to really elevate your talents, elevate your skills, and share them with the world. Next, we have the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups next to the Star and with Strength and the Nine of Pentacles, like this whole quadrant we have going on here, is a very, very strong set of cards. So Ace of Cups is also a wish fulfillment card. What it suggests is more of the beginning of a journey, and it shows like of all the amazing things are to come. So definitely with the Ace of Cups, it means that where you are right now, there's going to be more and more and more great things that are going to unfold in a positive way. And when I think of the Ace of Cups in conjunction with Strength, what I think of is that nothing can stop you. The Ace of Cups is showing me that your attitude is like, this is my person, no one's going to talk negatively about them, no one is going to step on our toes. Like together we are as strong as we can be. There's nothing that's going to stop us. And so I think that in a very positive sense, you guys are really charging ahead and you're innovating at a speed that I think other people are quite in awe of. And I wouldn't even be surprised if you both, in some shape or form, become public figures. Being a celebrity, being a YouTube star, whatever it is, I do think that you and your partner can do this together. So if you haven't really tapped into opportunities, if you are with your partner currently, if you haven't tapped into that yet, I would really encourage you guys to think about how you can join your interests and your passions together, because it's actually in that match and in that pairing, which is it's a soul pairing. It's something that's meant to happen, that you guys end up becoming extremely, extremely successful. Last but not least, we have the Moon. The moon is one of those cards where it has a million different meanings. So some days it feels like the moon is about anxiety and fear, and other days it just feels like the moon is about the secrecy and the hidden things and the intuition. And I actually think in this reading it's more about that. It's about the latter rather than the former. And so I think that with your partner, this is going to sound weird, but I think that you guys understand each other on a very intuitive and deep level, in the sense that you're on the same wavelength and other people just can't break into that. I see that other people are very curious about you guys as a pair and kind of want to dig into it and understand the energy and understand, how is this possible, you know? How is it that they're so successful? How is it that they're able to do all the things that they can do? But people just can't kind of crack the code. And so I do see a lot of people, it's not being jealous, but I see people being in awe of you both and really treating you as if you are a celebrity, as if you are very much out of their league, so to speak. So I want to prepare you for that now, because I think that that's only going to get more intense as you go throughout this relationship in the future. And I think that with age, and obviously as your finances continue to bolster and get bigger, I think that that's going to continue growing. So kind of prepare yourself mentally now. But you guys are going to be like this movie star couple that people are just completely in awe of. And I see that there is a secrecy. I think there's also a lot of passion here. There's like shared and secret spaces that you guys have that is sacred to both of you. It's something that other people can't really break into. And I feel like it's this type of relationship where you might be at a dinner table with friends, and you and your partner look at each other across the table and catch eye contact, and you instantly know what each other are thinking. And the friends might kind of notice something's going on, but they're like, that was weird, you know, what just happened? And the moment passes and no one can really put it into words. I think that you guys end up building an empire together. Honestly, I think you do end up making a lot of money together, and I think that this relationship is extremely hopeful and brings you a lot of opportunities. I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to take you far and wide. I do see a lot of travel in your future, by the way. Wouldn't be surprised if your partner is somehow connected to the film industry, the food industry, something that makes them travel, or very much it's an entrepreneurship technology type of thing. So those are some clues that I got today, and I hope it helped you guys. And of course, if you would like a personal reading, please book in my Schedulisty link above, and I wish you guys a great day. Thank you so much. Group 2, welcome to your reading. So as a reminder, we are doing this reading on who you're going to marry, and I'm trying to get as many details as possible. So I've picked these 4 main cards for you guys. And then we also have these 4 clarifying cards. So I'll go through them one by one and talk about any messages that I'm picking up. So before I get started, one thing that I want to tell you guys is I'm picking up a lot of energy around water. And so what this means to me is I actually think that you and your future spouse both enjoy the water a lot, whether that's being by a beach, whether that's water sports like surfing, swimming, all of that kind of stuff. And that could even mean that they're also a water sign, like a Cancer or a Scorpio or a Pisces, for example. I just want you to keep that in mind if you have not met them yet, because I think the water is in some way significant to you guys. And for some reason, I'm even getting vibes around like surfing, beaches definitely, so I just want you guys to kind of hold that in the back of your mind and use that as a kind of clue if you have not yet met your future spouse. So the first card that we got for you guys is the 10 of Cups. The first card in a tarot reading is always the card that represents the energy of the reading, and the 10 of Cups is one of the happiest cards in the tarot deck. So it is about true happiness. It's just this feeling of bliss and this feeling of ultimate joy. In the traditional tarot deck, we see a rainbow and we see these people who are just extremely happy. It's like they're skipping off into the sun. And the 10 of Cups is really just, it's harmony. It's like feeling completely harmonious and in balance, like you have the right people in your life and that you are at exactly the place that you need to be. And so what I see for you and your future marriage is that you are going to be almost blissfully happy with this marriage. This is exactly the type of marriage that you want, and you are never going to want or need anything more. So I hope that that gives you a very bright ray of hope if you have not yet met your person. Next we have the King of Swords. The King of Swords is a really interesting energy, so it definitely comes with more strategy and logic. And whereas here I was picking up more emotions, like I think you both have a very strong emotional draw to one another and can kind of get lost in conversations and even get lost in each other's eyes, so to speak. The King of Swords here is bringing in a little bit of a different energy, but also in a very positive way, more around structure and more around order. I think for some of you, your future spouse is drawn to things that are structured and ordered, like math, coding, for example, professions where they can really put something structured around their way of thinking. That's going to kind of help them organize and categorize their thoughts. But what I want to be very clear about is I see your future spouse as being a very open-minded person. I simply think that they do prize logic and they do want to get from point A to point B and understand how they got there, so to speak. So keep in mind, when you have discussions with your future spouse, they're going to want to see your logic, they're going to want to know how you came to a conclusion. But I think overall, this talent that they have of being structured is going to bring you a lot of stability and security in your life. So I see them being very good with finances in terms of how they manage their money, whether they have a lot, a medium amount, or maybe even just a little bit. But I think that they provide this security because they know how to manage things, they know how to balance things. They intuitively have this natural inclination to be almost like a parent figure towards all the different things going on in their life. And I think that they even kind of treat their money in this way. Like, I think that they're quite structured, but they do it with a lot of care. I see this person being a very good natural parent. I see them really being a good parent, someone who is going to raise children in a very compassionate but also humble and value-based way. I see this person having very strong values. So I think that if you have not yet met them, you're going to want to look out for someone who is driven by values. And for some people, this is actually religion. For other people, not so much. Next, we have the Queen of Wands. This is a nice pairing that we have together. So we have the Queen of Wands and the King of Swords next to each other. The King of Swords, as I said, is more about logic and structure and definitely leadership. Like, that person is 100% a leader. The Queen of Wands matches that energy, but brings in the creativity and the color and some of the more enigmatic energy. It's interesting because if you just looked at this card, you would think that your relationship was going to be very structured and logical, but that's not at all the case. It's like that's one facet of the relationship, but you also have this great energy of creativity together. And I think that that's something that you share. And interestingly enough, I do think that one of you might be more naturally inclined to be creative than the other person, even in the sense of spending the weekend painting or watching a very interesting and like beautifully filmed movie. But I think because one of you is so drawn to those things, like all the tiny beautiful details in life, I think naturally the other person draws to it as well. And so in that way, you both kind of come together and you both share interests. And what I'm getting right now is I think that you guys have a great love of watching movies together. I don't know why I'm getting that, but I see like Netflix and you guys like sitting down and watching movies. I don't think that they're just any old movies. I think that you both have this kind of fascination around shared topics, whether that's foreign films, for example, or spy films or detective films. So I think that there are some like shared interests which don't necessarily have anything to do with your career, but there are things that both of you share and you both kind of have this shared passion for those things, and that's how you like to spend your free time together. So we also have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is naturally a more opportunistic energy, but the thing about this card is that sometimes there are too many options and it feels hard to choose which is the right option. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's not just you and your future spouse. What I think is that during the course of your marriage, you and your future spouse have a lot of opportunities that come up for you. I think that some of them actually have to do with changing location, like going from one place to another, and that kind of prompts you to, in many ways, start a new life. It's like turning over a new leaf. And so I think within this marriage, it's extremely expansive because it's almost like there's different chapters. I think there could be like 3 or 4 different chapters. And so what I'm thinking is it's like you live somewhere for 3 or 4 years and then you actually move somewhere else. Maybe that's where you raise your kids primarily, and then you actually move somewhere else. And that kind of continues at least 3 or 4 times. So that's the vibe that I'm getting. I think most of it is related to work, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if you figure out some kind of flexible lifestyle where you are able to just live and work wherever you please, which I hope makes you happy, because a lot of people just absolutely dream for that type of lifestyle. And I think that you and your future spouse will be able to live in a lot of different places. And I know that right now that might seem very unrealistic given that we have coronavirus, but I actually see that in your future there's going to be a lot of opportunities, and the difficulty is not finding the opportunities, but the difficulty is actually knowing which ones to take and which ones to actually make a reality. I see you and your future spouse as being very talented, and I think that your unique talents and skills are things that not everyone can replicate. Like, just to give an example, let's pretend that one of you is like a psychic, or one of you is like a financial manager. It doesn't really matter what the role is, but there are specific skill sets that you actually need either a natural inclination towards, or you need extensive training. And I think because of that, both you and your future spouse are kind of like this rare commodity that other people can't replicate. And so I think that's going to bring you a lot of opportunities, but together you'll need to decide, which opportunities are right for you and which opportunities are right for your family. And I do think for most of you, if you are wanting to have children, I do see that in your future. So I think that children are definitely on the table. Also, pets, dogs is what I'm feeling right now, but maybe if you're drawn to like cats or something else, then you'll have that too. But I see this being a very happy family. It's like having the full package. It's like the traditional American dream, which will not only be in America, by the way, because you're going to take it to a lot of different other continents, I think. I think there's international travel here. So I'm going to go through the clarifying cards, and here we have the High Priestess. It's funny because the High Priestess is very intuitive, and it's almost by coincidence that I just mentioned one of you might be like a psychic or do more intuitive work as a career. I don't know if it's as black and white as that, but what I get is one of you at least has your channel open, where the information that you get is actually like divine intervention, and that's what makes you so special. So I don't know if it's you watching this video or you as in your future spouse, but one of you has an ability to really connect with something above, which is really helping to nurture this relationship and nurture your unique talents and skills. And I think that you also have this ability to get messages through your dreams. And I know it sounds weird, but I think somehow this actually helps your marriage. I have no idea how. I almost think of it in terms of like premonition. It's like you get a gut feeling that something is going to happen before it actually manifests in reality. And I see most of this being very positive stuff. So when I was talking about moving, I almost have this feeling like one of you, or maybe both of you, will have a dream that you're going to move, and then 5 to 6 months later, your company asks you to move. And so it's almost like you're going to get these hints or these signals that help you understand what's going to happen before it actually takes place. If that is you who's watching this video right now, please write them down. Pay close attention to these signs, because I think that they're meant to help you, and they actually boost your marriage, and they boost your potential to really plan something and live this like very wonderful life together. So next we have the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is a naturally hopeful energy, and this is clarifying the King of Swords. With the King of Swords, I talk more about logic and order and structure, but also this like leadership ability. And with the Page of Cups, it's really interesting, but for some reason, I feel like you and your future spouse have this desire to kind of nurture someone else. So it is one another that you're nurturing, but I also feel that it's a younger energy that's kind of coming in that you're going to want to nurture. And so I think for many of you, it's children. For some reason, I'm seeing a boy. So if you want a boy, hopefully that makes you happy. There's some kind of legacy that's taking place in this relationship, which is really cool. It's really interesting. I just see it as like a passing down of knowledge that takes place from parent to child. The Page of Cups is also again symbolic of opportunities and something that is going to grow and grow and grow and eventually manifest. So it's almost like planting the seed and the seed hasn't yet sprouted, but it will certainly sprout in the future. And so what I would like you to think about is just when you are in contact with your future spouse, I think that you both need to be quite aligned on which things you want to manifest and grow together. Because at times there will be too many opportunities, and at times there might be a little bit of a push and pull between one person wanting to do one thing, one person wanting to do the other thing. I don't think that it creates a lot of conflict, but I do think at times it feels very serious and it feels hard to decide which direction to go in. And I think some of these things that happen are major life pivots, like they're actual major life changes. Moving from one place to another, especially if it's international travel, is really a huge life change. And so your future spouse and you will have to be on the same page when you guys have those conversations. So if there is some kind of disagreement or tension, I don't think it's damaging to the relationship at all. It's healthy conflict, if anything, but just kind of expect that there will be too many opportunities and you guys will have to choose which ones are right for you and right for the relationship. Next, we have the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is a very celebratory energy. So Six of Wands has a lot to do with going through some challenges and some hardships and then feeling like you're finally at this place where you can celebrate. This shows that you and your spouse are going to have this very joyful relationship. You're definitely going to succeed at whatever it is that you want to do as a pair, whether that be moving somewhere or having children or whatever. But this is also a very magical energy that we have going on here because we have the Queen of Wands, which is very feminine, and then we have the Six of Wands, which is more about the celebration and the community. So what I think is that whoever is this Queen of Wands person might also be this intuitive energy that we have here. That person is very integral to the relationship. And so again, I think that that person's abilities feed into the success that takes place. I feel like you and your future spouse don't necessarily work together. I see that there's some kind of separation, but I see a lot of shared goals in terms of life and travel. I really get a strong travel vibe. And for some of you, I'm just gonna say it because I say whatever comes to me, I'm seeing Chicago as a place to live. I think also somewhere that's like much further out though, by the water again. So wherever that place is to you, please comment down below if you already know the answer. That definitely is in your future. For some of you, I think that there's this energy of kind of going back and forth. I don't know if it's different properties, but it's definitely different chapters in your life. And so I do think that travel is a major theme for you both. Definitely a lot of celebration here, a lot of happiness. Things are manifesting exactly as you would want them to. So take it at your own pace. But I think that this is going to be a very fruitful relationship in terms of opportunities and in terms of creativity. Then lastly, we have the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is an interesting energy because it's all about going through hardship and then going to a new place. So in the traditional tarot deck, the Six of Swords is this card where it's this person, they have a lot of swords around them and they're in a boat, but they're traveling away from the hardship and away from the challenges. I don't actually see that many challenges for you guys in terms of you and your future spouse. I don't think that this is something where there's too many conflicts between you two, although I do at times see like some minor disagreements, which at the time feel very major when they're actually happening. Like it could be something like, where should we move, location A or location B? But I think that ultimately the Six of Swords is showing you that together through this relationship you have more opportunities than if you were alone. And I think that's what it wants you to know, that with this match and with this partnership, you're actually able to take on a lot of different things that you wouldn't be able to do if you were just solo. That's not always the case. You know, sometimes there are these relationships where people tend to stay together and tend to snuggle up and want to be at home and maybe just stay in that place for the rest of their lives. And that's perfectly valid because that's what a lot of people want to do. But I don't see this relationship being like that. I see it being quite different, where I think that you both kind of push each other to expand each other's minds, and then together you end up taking on a lot of different opportunities that you simply would not have if you had stayed by yourself. So I hope that this reading gave you guys some clarity on your future spouse and also your marriage, which is going to be very, very happy. Remember, you got the Ten of Cups, which is one of the happiest cards in the tarot deck. If you want a personal reading, you can book one using my Schedulicity link in the YouTube banner above. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Okay, group 3, welcome to your reading. So as a reminder, this reading is about who you're going to marry and any details we can get about your marriage. So I've pulled these 4 main cards for you guys, and this is from the Soul Cards Tarot deck. And then I also have these 4 clarifying cards, so we'll talk about both of these today. So just to begin, we pulled the 6 of Pentacles for you guys. And the 6 of Pentacles is a very sharing and caring energy. So what I see in this relationship is it's kind of like, I will give the clothes off of my back for you, and I expect that if I'm ever in a difficult spot, you would do the same. And this is very much the energy I get about you and your future spouse. I feel like you guys really do support each other through thick and thin, and I think that there are times that are a little bit hard for at least one of you, if not both of you, but I think that you both really support each other, and you know that together, through this bond and through this marriage, you guys can really get through anything. I get a very strong vibe from both of you. I feel like you guys really do trust each other, and you really know that despite the challenges that are going to come in the future or may have already come, that you're there to protect each other and support each other. And I very much get this feeling of, this is my person. You know, I feel like you know that your future spouse is right for you when you meet them, and it's not something where you have to do a lot of guesswork. Like maybe at the beginning you might not be 100% sure, but I don't think it takes very long for you to figure out that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So I think once you meet your future spouse, if you haven't already, there is a natural connection between you two where it's just very clear that you were brought into one another's lives for a reason, and that you're here to support each other and nourish each other and even kind of protect each other and shepherd each other through these different challenges that come up now or in the future. And so next we have the 7 of Swords. Sword energy can be hard because it can feel cutting and it can feel tense. So I think the first thing is that your future spouse might have had a few relationships which weren't actually very healthy. And when I say that, I'm talking mainly about emotional stuff. Like, I think it's possible that they felt as if the rug was taken from under them in a few of their relationships, or that they ended very abruptly, or that there were very difficult verbal arguments that took place between them and the other person. And so I think that there is some healing and there is some kind of regenerative work that needs to take place in order for your future spouse to kind of be all set on this new path. And so I just want you to know that when you enter into this relationship, there might be some kind of residue that has taken place that's still coming from the last relationship. I don't think this is an issue for you. I think you guys get over it very well and with a lot of success, because we also got the World. And I apologize that I'm skipping ahead there, but I just want you guys to know early on that you are able to make it through those difficult conversations that might actually come to manifest. The World is a very successful card, and it is telling you that that is not really a concern for your relationship in the future. I think there are times when you have arguments or disagreements and they can get quite tense, and they can kind of turn into conversations where it feels like difficult, but at the end of the day, you guys already know that you're really there to support one another, and neither of you ever question that. So even if you feel absolutely livid at that person in the moment, you still go to bed at night knowing that you're going to love them for the rest of your life. I think that you and your future spouse have this very caring core to your relationship, and just remember that core, because it's going to carry you guys through some times that might feel a bit difficult. Next, we have the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is a very nice energy. So this actually is an energy where it's coming after you've already looked across the landscape and assessed, where can I improve in my life? Where can things change? Together, how can we improve and how can we change? It's the energy that comes right after that, and it's actually the beginning of putting all of that stuff into action. So with the 3 of Wands, what I'm seeing is that I think there are some things that your future spouse needs to work through, but I think that they're able to turn over this new leaf with you, and you are a big trigger to allowing them to actually turn over this new leaf and have this new life. And I think at times it comes with feelings for them of loss. So it's like a little bit up and down and up and down. And it's a little bit feeling like they can't really shake everything that happened in the past. And the reason I'm saying that is because we pulled the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups does bring an energy of defeat and loss and feeling like I tried really hard and yet I still lost things. And so I think that your future spouse might need a little bit of, it's not even like pepping up, that's a silly way to say it because it's more intense than that. They need your support and they need your guidance and they need to know that you are that stable person that is there alongside them for their entire life. And if that's clear to them, which I think it will be, then I think that you as a pair will be able to get through any and all hardships that happen now or in the future. And the Three of Wands is showing that you guys as a pair are actually quite strategic in terms of how you treat the things that come into your life. So sometimes there will be opportunities and they'll be exciting and they'll be challenging and they will really push you both to accept new things and different things. But at times there will also be hardships, and that's true of any marriage. And the good thing is I don't think that the hardships are so much between you two. I think it's external stuff that happens. It could also be something that they can't really control. And so I think that you are this huge element of support and confidence in the relationship. And the more confident you are and the more confident you show yourself to be, the more confident your spouse is as well. What I want to say is that it's not all going to be easy, but I have 100% full confidence in you and your future spouse, because what I see is that you have this very supportive and caring energy at the core of the relationship, and that you guys are both there to support each other regardless of what comes up. So I see a lot of good here. We also have the Emperor. The Emperor is a card that brings almost it's like a higher level, more respectable energy somehow. The Emperor is a card of structure. I see this as being a really good influence on the relationship. So it feels to me like you and your future spouse do have some connection to some kind of larger force or power, and I have no idea what that is, but it might be an organization, it might be religion, it's something where you guys have this added measure of security, and I think that this adds a lot of stability to your life. I think it's a very, very good influence on you guys, and somehow this kind of helps you weather the storm. You know, there are going to be things that come up, as I said, but what I see is that you have this outlet almost, which helps you to navigate these challenges. And it's really interesting, I'm just noticing this now as I talk. On this card we have, they're kind of like diamonds and there's a planet and then there's this image here in the middle. And I'm not sure exactly what the artist intended, but I am getting an image of like a compass, you know, and knowing how to navigate the challenges. And sometimes the seas are rough. And I think that together and through this like larger force that you guys have at your fingertips, you're able to navigate whatever it is that comes up, which is really, really cool. It's really promising. We also have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is a funny energy because it sometimes feels like a lack of progress. Like it can feel like a stalemate, and that's what this image is. It's showing like, nope, it's a stalemate. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to change. What I read into this card is that there are certain things where you and your future spouse would want it to be different, and it doesn't really change and it doesn't really alter in the way that you guys want it to. I don't think that that's anything bad, by the way, because I see that there's so much sharing and caring that goes on here. It might just be a difficult situation, like maybe you don't have as much money as you want to, or maybe, you know, you're not able to move out of the location that you want to move into or move out of. So it's something like that, but I don't really see it being an issue for your relationship. I feel like you guys are able to really navigate whatever it is that comes up. And like I said, you have the World. The World is this beautiful energy because it's all about celebration and success. And in terms of the tarot deck, if we think about the journey that takes place, the World is a major arcana card, and it is bringing with it a lot of resources, a lot of opportunities. It's showing that through all of these different hardships and challenges that actually take place over this journey, you end up getting to this very successful spot where you were able to take advantage of all the hardships, all the opportunities, all the resources, and you were able to make them work for you. And so I think that you and your future spouse, despite some of the hard things that happen here and there, you and your future spouse ultimately end up very successful, and you end up knowing that together you guys have this very strong core. I already talked about the Five of Cups, and I don't actually have anything to add, so I'm going to skip that one for a second. And then lastly here we have the Sun. Group 3, the Sun is a very positive note to end on. The Sun is a card of joy, it's a card of manifestation. It really means that the more you put your mind to it, the more that thing will happen for you. So if there's something that you're hoping for, that you're wishing for, that you're sitting there really, really wanting, you are going to get it, but you have to manifest it. You literally have to focus on it in your mind's eye, mentally, emotionally, physically, if that applies. You have to try as hard as you can to bring that into your life. And I believe that you are a very hard worker, and I see this energy and I pick that up from your future spouse as well. I feel like you guys are the type of people who can just roll with the punches and get it done and deliver exactly as promised type of thing. And so with the Sun, I think that there are going to be elements of this relationship and this marriage that actually really surprise you, but in the most beautiful way possible. So I see a lot of joy and comfort and happiness that's taking place here. The Sun also has to do a little bit with the future, and so I do see that if you are interested in having children and kind of bringing new energies into your life and into your family unit, I think that's 100% on the table for you guys. And that could also be a little bit like what the Emperor is talking about. So the Emperor does have to do with structure and hierarchy, organizations, order, all of that stuff. It's a little bit different than the Hierophant, which is more about teaching and more about the specific lessons that are exchanged. But the Emperor is like this kind of aspirational figure. And so it's kind of funny because it's possible that you and your future spouse are like these aspirational figures in your home to your children. Basically, what I want you to know is that the Sun holds a lot of opportunities. It's basically saying that the world is your oyster and that you can get whatever it is that you're looking for. I hope that this reading gave you guys some clarity on who your future spouse is and how your marriage will be. And once again, I really do get a very strong core and a very strong partnership here, so I hope that that gives you a lot of comfort and joy. Thank you so much for watching today, and if you would like a personal reading, you can just book using my Schedulicity link in my YouTube banner, and if you're not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much.